Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Rio Grande head women's soccer coach, Coach Tony Dainels. How are you doing today?
All right, Brandon, how are you? And I
I'm
have
doing.
to really quick. It's Rio Grande.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start coaching in college women's soccer?
Well, yeah, I'll date it all back. So I played down here, and I was Scott, the men's assistant, for 25, and I wanted to try to grow my wings and see if I could do it myself. I won 2 national championships with Scott, and the thing was I didn't want to relocate my family. So I have 3 kids. Currently, they're 17, 15, and 11. And I think what happened was the women's job came open. I didn't have to leave anything, stay in the same office, but I could develop my own program.
What was it like, obviously, playing men's soccer for Rio?
You have to remember the program started back in 1984. I came here in 1987. So it wasn't as of yet. I think it was still as organized kickball to a lot of people down in this area. So it was okay. The coach really, I don't want to talk bad about him. The coach was okay. Didn't know a lot about the game, but he did recruit a lot of good players. But we had our struggles as a 3rd-year program would. Not a lot of funding. This was a basketball school. But it was interesting.
What was that feeling like of getting to put on the Rio jersey and then obviously seeing the players put on the same jersey?
I think it's awesome. I think in any sport, the jersey that there has to be a passion within that athlete. And no matter what team it is, and it's like your cloak, so to speak, but you put it on and it's a band of brothers, and it means something. It means something to go out there and participate.
What was it like, obviously, coaching the Rio Soccer Academy?
It was good. So I had children, and in this area, recreational soccer wasn't really wanted to go ahead and do something more than what was offered out here. So I thought about the process, and I utilized college soccer players to go ahead and coach, and we developed an academy. And I think at max point we had about 125 kids, but everything was kept in-house. We trained here on Tuesday and then we played games on Sundays. And you know, to be honest with you, I think the fruits, everything has come to fruition with some of these kids going on to play college soccer. I know my son in general will be a senior coming up. But I think it's an invaluable experience these kids had. And, you know, you gave back to the community with these college kids being able to go ahead and coach and put the shoe on the other foot in that regards. So it was really, really good. The biggest thing, though, was dealing with parents. Even though we're a little area, I think it goes unsaid a lot of times. But it's a new thing. A lot of people don't know the game. And I think it's come so far in America. So
How was it like, obviously, going to become the assistant coach on the men's soccer team and obviously help that program?
yeah, it was a great thing. I came back to school. I left a couple times, and when I came back, I didn't have any eligibility left. Scott took over the helm when he was 20 years old. So he coached me for 2 years. When I came back to finish school, he gave me an offer of, why don't you help out? And, you know, just being a past collegiate player going to a coach is very, very, it took me a couple of years, but then to get into the psyche of coaching and training these kids on a day in, day out basis. And then if you've noticed, our men's roster spans throughout the world. And it was really a great opportunity to go ahead and get in these kids and sort of strip away what they've been brought up with, not the technical aspect, or the tactical, but this is the way that we want you to play over here in America. And it was an awesome feeling. It was a great accomplishment to go ahead and win that first national championship, because Rio Grande was, it's like we were talking before, that it's just a little area in rural Appalachia. And, we've through a period of 4 years beaten. And it was something that will never be taken away from not only myself and Scott, but that group of guys. And it's unbelievable. And to do it 2 times is great.
What was that like, obviously building up as a national program and a powerhouse and winning the national championship?
It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. There's no magical formula. Obviously, if there was, we'd be millionaires. You have to have luck. You have to have the ball bounce your way. And I think a lot has to do with the culture and the cohesion that you have with those kids. Once you understand the life lessons that you're trying to teach them in the game of soccer, once you play for each other or one another, it's invaluable, and you're not going to lose. And to reach that element of that final game and be classified as the best in the country is incredible.
What was the transition like from you from going from men's soccer to obviously becoming the head women's soccer coach?
Very difficult. It's apples and oranges. It's a different psyche, but it was very hard. Just came off of winning the national championship in 2015. I decided to take over the program in the spring of 16, thinking that I can go ahead and just do the same that I did with the men. And we struggled. I struggled. The program struggled, and I sort of had to reinvent myself. But the process has been very, very good. I didn't release anybody from the program. I kept them here for the fact that they were trying to get their education. But those 4 years that I had my predecessor's kids, I wouldn't trade it for anything, because it's life lessons that I learned. And now the program is really, really thriving going forward.
Of course, can you talk about the women's soccer program and what the culture you've built for it?
Yeah, I think in any, I do a lot of conversing with other coaches. Once you get the culture set, everything else is priceless. And it's really, really here at the university of giving these girls empowerment of being on a team. The culture is not only on the field, but it's off the field. It's about getting their education. It's about doing team bonding. It's about being not being afraid to make mistakes and learning and that banter and understanding. I might not like what you say. I have to respect what you are human being, and trying to get that message in these kids on a regular basis. It's a struggle. I struggle with it myself, but once you start to get that culture and these kids are starting to hang out with each other and they're starting to thrive on the game, and they enjoy coming down to practice, and off the field, they hang out, they watch Champions League together now. It's incredible. It's really, really, it's something that they'll have for the rest of their lives.
Who are some of the teams that you face in your conference?
Our conference spans from Pennsylvania, so we'll play, I forget the other team, Park out of Pittsburgh. We have West Virginia Tech down in Beckley. We'll have Indiana Kokomo. We have St. Mary's of the Woods, Brescia. We have Oakland University in Indiana. We have IU East. Then we have Midway. We have Ohio Christian just right up from us. So, I mean, this conference, the River States Conference, is a growing conference. And I think it's starting to get better throughout, thick or thin. Back a couple years ago, it was anybody's game on any given day. You didn't know who was number one in the conference until the end, which made it really, really good. The parity, but I think the whole group of coaches is band together, and we're getting better.
What's it like, obviously, getting to play those teams like Ohio Christian and Midway?
It's good. I think for being a small college, the radius of what we have to recruit from, you can see those different tendencies in Midway because they're getting Lexington, Kentucky. Ohio Christian and myself, we're sort of competing for the same kids on a regular basis. What's funny is I might recruit the same kid and that they pick one of those other schools. I don't hate them. I'm glad that they're in school. I'm glad, because our paths have crossed for a reason. And it was up to them who chose what was going on.
What's a typical game day look like for the women's soccer program?
Girls report up to, we play at 5:00. Girls report up to the locker room about 2:45, 3:00. I give them their own time. They'll go and see the trainer. They put their music on. They get themselves psyched up and ready to go for the game. I'll come in approximately about an hour before kickoff. I'll give my spiel, game day talk that I would give the girls, trying to keep it short and concise. And then I go down the hill. The big thing here at Rio is where Lion Center, our gymnasium, is actually on, is a massive hill. So the girls will enter or exit out the back side of the gym, and they'll proceed down the hill. And the stadium's right there, so they're walking into, the gladiators are about to walk into the stadium. But it's a pretty thing because the music, they have the music that they carry with them coming down that hill, and it's really neat. It gives you goosebumps when you start to do it.
What are some of the game day traditions that the women's soccer program has?
I think their craziness before the game, getting psyched out, that's always a good tradition. And like I said, I give them their time. I don't want to control it. I've never tried to change character because I think that's what makes up our sport. That's a tradition that will be carried out. That's something that I always want to let happen as well.
What are some of the future plans for the women's soccer program?
To get better. I wanted the ability to take these girls to the national tournament and one day host another national championship banner. It's something that, once again, no one can ever take away from you. And it's about getting the right collection of girls in to go ahead and have that process done. It's about hard work, not only during the season, but out of season. And that, I think that's the biggest thing culturally with these girls and trying to do with this program is make something where, Rio Grande's not known for just men's soccer, but it's known for women's soccer.
Of course, what does the recruitment process look like on the women's side for prospective student athletes?
I get oodles and of email, and I go and watch games. For a prospective athlete, it boils down with women. Recruiting women is very difficult because there's lesser ways to play professional sports. So, they're concentrated on their major, their academics, about a 3-hour rate, aesthetics, and then scholarship. So it's very difficult because there's a lot of schools in Ohio that are competing after the same girls.
What do you look at when on the road in these prospective student athletes?
I look at how they handle themselves on the field, off with their teammates. Someone that said to me a long time ago, you never know who's watching. I don't like to announce when I'm coming to a game for the fact that I might get that prospective student athlete. They might not have a good performance. So usually I contact them afterwards. But I look at everything, not just what they can do with the ball. I'm looking at that full athlete, someone that's going to put their hand down and help someone up, but also compete against that person. Someone that has it, I want to say, sort of the same, cut from the same cloth as me, leave everything in the field. And if you lose, the team was better, fair enough. But I'm going to give you a battle. So I'm looking for the technical, the tactical aspect, but also how are they as an individual and as a human being.
The official visit look like for those prospective student athletes looking to go play at Rio?
Usually once the conversation starts, we'll go ahead and get them booked with our admissions office. They'll schedule that with Corona. Everything's was up and been restructured. I'll meet them over at the admissions office just to do a quick formal, hey, how you doing? I'm so-and-so, if I haven't met them already. Introduce them to the admissions counselors, and then they go on the tour. And then I meet with them afterwards. They drop them off here. We could take them up to our booster room, which have a lot of our accolades throughout this university. And that's where all the magic happens.
What is it like, obviously, seeing those prospective student athletes get to put on that jersey just like you did?
Oh, it's remarkable because you talk about it, you know, but then once they put it on, it's what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for this program? And you know, they're an extension not only of me, but of this program, of this university. So it does mean a lot seeing them out there and performing at the best level that they can.
What advice would you give those prospective student athletes that are in high school looking to play college women's soccer?
Obviously, academics is a big thing, first and foremost. Second of all, I think women are affixed on the blue dot or the trademark because we're an NAIA institution. They have to be comfortable. You know, I think any athlete, student athlete, should map out, you know, what school they thrive at, what school when they admissions visit or an official visit that they can both thrive athletically as well as academically, because it's going to be a win-win. Some kids go to schools just because, oh, you know, my mom and dad went there, or so-and-so's gone there, and are you going to actually play? You're not going to play. Well, it's this school, and you know, and I think there has to be the investment from the kid itself. To be a realist, there's nothing wrong with setting high standards, but in the same process, you have to be a realist. So,
what advice would you give those college women's soccer players that are looking to go play in the NWSL or the U.S. women's national team?
Yeah, same thing. It's about your investment. I've had girls that play in both leagues. You know, it's going to take a lot of hard work and fortitude to go ahead and do that. So it's about putting the extra work in. It's about making communication and saying that you want to go ahead and do it. A lot of people want, quote unquote, to play at that level, but when it comes down to it, it's a lot of work. So I think it's about the restructuring of their mind and what you're doing off season to go ahead and get prepared to go ahead and play. And it's about the impact that you make day in, day out, not only on the athletic field, but also as a person in this world.
What advice would you give those future coaches looking to get started in coaching in women's soccer?
Yeah, it's a big task. You left me speechless here on this one. No, I think it's a great thing. I think you have to be very knowledgeable in what you're trying to do. And the biggest thing is not afraid to make mistakes. You know, I make mistakes every day, and I'll go ahead and say it. And that transparency, I think, only helps me because I want to be a sponge and soak up as much information from other coaches, my mistakes that I've made, etc. That's the only way that you learn. So, you know, if you're going to get involved in women's soccer, understand that it's a different ball of wax. And you know, you have to have your morals. You have to have everything set in place of what you want to try to achieve. Women are very organized, and they'll hold you to the feet to the fire, so to speak. So it makes it I think, a great achievement once you get everything right.
What advice would you give those future college coaches that are looking to become head coaches and looking to go coach at their alma mater like you did?
Yeah, I think it's you have to have passion for that school. I think it's a great opportunity, at least to get wet and so to speak, and get involved in the program. I do think that somewhere else, maybe to do a master's and become a grad assistant somewhere, and then having the ability to your alma mater and coach is it's priceless. It is priceless.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the women's soccer program?
We're starting up the Twitter account right now, but in regards to Graham, it's Rio Grande W Soccer. And that's where everything takes place for us.
Thank you again, Coach Tony Dainels, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Rio Grande's women's soccer program.
Thank you, Brandon. All the best.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Tony Dainels, for your interview.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk.
Thank you.
Please feel free.